If you're over 60 and you've noticed your erections have weakened, your body isn't aging. It's starving. And the supplement you're taking every night before bed, the one your doctor probably recommended for sleep and muscle relaxation, is doing absolutely nothing to revive your manhood. In fact, by relying on magnesium, you're ignoring the 2 nighttime vitamins that work while you sleep to restore blood flow, reignite testosterone, and bring back the firmness you thought was gone forever. Even if you're 75, 80, or 85. I'm Dr. Mei Anderson, and what I'm about to share will change your night starting tonight. But before I reveal these 2 vitamins, let me give you one simple action you can take in the next 60 seconds that will prove I know exactly what you're experiencing. Tonight, 2 hours before bed, take one simple step. Stop eating refined carbs after 6 p.m. No bread, no pasta, no crackers. Why? Because those foods spike insulin, which directly blocks the testosterone surge your body needs during deep sleep. That's a free win you can implement tonight. But that alone won't restore your erections, and this is what most men miss. I've spent 25 years as a urologist working exclusively with men over 60, and I've watched thousands of men struggle not because their bodies are broken, but because they're feeding their nighttime repair system the wrong fuel at the wrong time. Your penis doesn't repair itself during the day when you're active and moving. It repairs between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., when your body floods your system with growth hormone and testosterone. And if you don't give your body the exact 2 vitamins it needs during that window, no amount of magnesium, exercise, or positive thinking will bring back what you've lost. The truth is, most men have been conditioned to think about their health during waking hours. You eat breakfast. You take your morning vitamins. You exercise during the day. You focus all your energy on what you do while the sun is up. But your body doesn't work that way. The most powerful healing, the deepest repair, the strongest surge of masculine hormones. All of that happens in the dark, while you're unconscious, while your body has the chance to redirect energy away from movement and thinking and into restoration. And if you're not supporting that nighttime window with the right nutrients at the right time, you're essentially asking your body to rebuild itself with no raw materials. It's like expecting a construction crew to build a house when you've only given them half the lumber and none of the nails. They'll show up. They'll try. But the structure won't hold. To understand why these 2 specific vitamins are non-negotiable, you need to know what's actually happening inside your body right now while you sleep. Think of the inside of your penis like a sponge made of smooth muscle tissue. When you're younger, that sponge expands easily, traps blood, and stays firm. But after 60, those sponge-like fibers start to stiffen and lose their elasticity. Not because you're aging, but because they're not getting repaired at night. And here's the part most men never learn. Your body only repairs those fibers during deep sleep when 2 specific processes happen simultaneously. First, your testosterone needs to surge. This happens naturally between midnight and 3 a.m., but only if your body has the right raw materials to manufacture it. Without those materials, your testosterone flatlines, and without testosterone, those smooth muscle fibers inside your penis can't rebuild themselves. Second, your blood vessels need to widen and strengthen, which requires a completely different nutrient that acts like a key unlocking receptors in your penile tissue. Nearly 70% of men over 65 are deficient in at least one of these 2 vitamins, and most have no idea because the symptoms show up slowly, first as softer erections, then as difficulty maintaining them, and eventually as complete inability. This is why you might notice that your morning erections disappeared first. That's your body's early warning system telling you, I'm not getting what I need at night to repair. Maybe you remember a time when you'd wake up with a firm erection almost every morning. It wasn't something you thought about, it just happened. That wasn't random. That was your body's way of showing you that the nighttime repair process was working perfectly. Your testosterone had surged. Your blood vessels had dilated. Your penile tissue had been flooded with oxygen-rich blood all night long, keeping it healthy and responsive. But when those morning erections stop, most men think it's just age. Just something that happens. Just the way things are now. And they accept it, or they try a pill, or they avoid the issue entirely. What they don't realize is that those missing morning erections are a symptom of a reparable process that's been interrupted. And the interruption isn't permanent, it's nutritional. And here's what makes this even more frustrating. You've probably been told that magnesium helps with sleep and muscle function, so you've been faithfully taking it before bed. But magnesium doesn't ignite testosterone production. It doesn't strengthen penile tissue. It doesn't widen blood vessels. At best, it helps you feel calm. At worst, it's distracting you from what actually works. So if magnesium isn't the answer, and you've probably already tried a few other solutions that didn't work, let me tell you why those approaches left you frustrated. Maybe you've been taking a daily multivitamin, thinking it covers everything. Or maybe you tried L-arginine because you read it boosts nitric oxide. Some of you might have even experimented with over-the-counter pills promising natural male enhancement. And when none of them worked, you probably thought, maybe I'm just too old. Maybe this is permanent. Here's the truth. You weren't doing the wrong things. You were doing incomplete things at the wrong time. Let me explain. Those multivitamins? They contain dozens of nutrients, but they're designed for daytime energy, not nighttime repair. When you take them in the morning, your body uses them to fuel your waking hours, not the deep cellular regeneration that happens when you sleep. So by the time 11 p.m. rolls around and your body is ready to rebuild penile tissue, those vitamins are already metabolized and gone. L-arginine does help with blood flow, but it only works if the smooth muscle tissue in your penis is healthy enough to respond. If those tissues are already weakened from years of inadequate nighttime repair, adding more blood flow is like turning up the water pressure in a garden hose that's already cracked. It doesn't fix the underlying structure. And those male enhancement supplements? Most of them are stimulants designed to create a temporary boost, but they don't address the root repair process. One man described it to me perfectly. It's like putting premium gas in a car with a broken engine. The fuel doesn't matter if the machine can't use it. I've seen this pattern hundreds of times in my practice. A man comes to me saying he's tried everything, exercise, diet changes, supplements, and nothing moved the needle. When I ask when he's taking his vitamins, the answer is almost always the same: morning. When I ask what vitamins he's taking, they're almost never the two his body actually needs for nighttime penile repair. And when I ask if he's taking magnesium before bed, the answer is usually yes, because someone told him it would help him sleep better. The frustration you've felt isn't because your body is broken. It's because you've been given incomplete information about timing, dosage, and which specific nutrients your penis requires during its repair window. And the moment you correct those three variables, the results can be dramatic. There's another pattern I've noticed. Many men tell me they feel like they're doing everything right during the day. They're active, they're eating relatively well, they're managing stress, but nothing changes in the bedroom. And that's because they're operating under a fundamental misunderstanding. They think erectile function is about what you do during the day. But it's not. It's about what your body does at night while you're asleep. It's about whether your body has the tools to repair the microscopic damage that accumulates in your penile tissue every single day. Every time blood flows through your penis, every time your blood pressure fluctuates, every time you experience stress or inflammation, tiny amounts of wear and tear accumulate in those smooth muscle fibers and blood vessels. During the day, your body doesn't have time to fix that damage. It's too busy keeping you upright, keeping you moving, keeping you thinking. But at night, when you enter deep sleep, your body shifts into repair mode. And that's when the rebuilding happens. That's when testosterone surges to strengthen tissue. That's when growth hormone floods your system to regenerate cells. That's when your blood vessels dilate to deliver oxygen and nutrients to every part of your body, including your penis. But all of that requires raw materials. And if those raw materials aren't there, the repair process stalls. So let me walk you through the exact 2-vitamin protocol that addresses nighttime penile repair, step by step, so you understand not just what to take, but why each one matters and how they work together. The first vitamin is vitamin D3, and here's why it's the foundation. When you take D3 before bed, ideally with your evening meal, it travels through your bloodstream and locks into special receptors inside your penile tissue. Think of it like a key sliding into a lock. Once that lock opens, your body starts pulling in calcium and phosphorus, which strengthen the smooth muscle fibers we talked about earlier. Those fibers are what give your erections their firmness and staying power. Without D3 activating those receptors at night, those fibers stay weak, and blood slips away too quickly. But here's what makes D3 even more powerful. It also triggers your body's natural testosterone production during deep sleep. I've tracked men in their 70s who started taking 2,000 to 4,000 IU of D3 with dinner, and within 48 hours, they reported deeper sleep. By week 2, morning erections started returning. At 30 days, most noticed significant improvement in firmness and duration. Now you might be wondering why D3 specifically, and why not just get more sunlight? Here's the reality. After age 60, your skin loses up to 75% of its ability to synthesize vitamin D from sunlight. Even if you spent an hour outside every single day, you still wouldn't produce enough D3 to support nighttime repair. And food sources, fatty fish, fortified milk, egg yolks, they help, but they're not enough either. You'd need to eat salmon every single day just to get close to the amount your body needs for optimal testosterone production and tissue repair. That's why supplementation at night is so powerful. You're bypassing all the limitations of age and diet, and delivering the exact amount your body needs, right when it needs it most. But vitamin D3 only works when paired with the second vitamin. And this is where most men stop too early. The second vitamin is zinc, and it acts as the ignition switch for everything D3 sets up. While D3 strengthens the tissue, zinc is what actually sparks the testosterone surge that fuels the repair process. Without zinc, your testes can't manufacture testosterone efficiently, even if D3 has prepared the tissue to receive it. Here's the timing that matters. Take your zinc, 15 to 30 milligrams, about 2 hours before bed, separate from your D3. Why separate? Because zinc works best on a slightly empty stomach, while D3 needs healthy fats to be absorbed. This staggered timing ensures your body has both nutrients circulating in your bloodstream right when your deep sleep repair window opens between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. Zinc does something else that most men don't realize. It controls over 300 different enzymes in your body, many of which are directly involved in protein synthesis and cell division. When you sleep, your body is constantly breaking down old, damaged cells and building new ones. That process requires zinc. Without it, the turnover slows down. Old, weakened cells stay in place longer. New, healthy cells take longer to form. And over time, that accumulation of old, damaged tissue is what leads to erectile dysfunction. But when you give your body adequate zinc at night, the process accelerates. Old cells are cleared out faster. New cells are built more efficiently. And within weeks, you start to notice the difference. Not just in erections, but in energy, in mood, in the way your body feels when you wake up in the morning. Within the first week, you'll likely notice better sleep quality and slightly more energy in the morning. That's your body signaling that the repair process has started. By week 2, many men report their first morning erection in months or even years. By 30 days, the compounding effect of nightly repair becomes obvious. Firmer erections, better duration, and the confidence that comes from knowing your body is responding again. But this only works when combined with step 3. You must avoid the 3 supplements that sabotage nighttime repair. B-complex vitamins stimulate your nervous system and keep you from reaching deep sleep. They're wonderful in the morning when you need energy and focus, but at night, they work against you. They keep your brain active when it should be shutting down. They elevate your heart rate slightly when it should be slowing. And they prevent you from entering the deepest phases of sleep, the phases where testosterone production and growth hormone release are highest. Vitamin C interferes with the mild oxidative stress your body needs to trigger tissue repair. Now that might sound strange because we're always told that antioxidants are good and oxidative stress is bad. But the truth is more nuanced. Your body uses small amounts of oxidative stress as a signal to start the repair process. It's like a controlled alarm that tells your cells, something needs fixing here. When you flood your system with vitamin C at night, you silence that alarm, and the repair process never fully activates. And caffeine, even hidden in supplements, raises cortisol, which directly destroys testosterone. Most men know to avoid coffee in the evening, But they don't realize that many pre-workout supplements, energy blends, and even some pain relievers contain caffeine. And even a small amount, 50 milligrams, roughly the amount in half a cup of coffee, can be enough to disrupt your sleep architecture and suppress testosterone production for hours. If you take any of these three at night, they will block the very process D3 and zinc are trying to activate. So the complete method is this. D3 with dinner, zinc 2 hours before bed, and eliminate B-complex, vitamin C, and caffeine after 6 p.m. Follow this sequence, and you're giving your penis exactly what it needs during the hours when repair actually happens. Now this protocol alone will produce results for most men, but there's one accelerator technique that separates moderate improvement from dramatic transformation, and it takes just 10 minutes before bed. Here's what I've observed in men who get the most dramatic results. They don't just take the vitamins. They prime their bodies to absorb them more effectively. And the way you do this is surprisingly simple. 10 minutes of deep belly breathing before you take your zinc. Here's why this matters. When you breathe deeply from your diaphragm, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and repair mode your body needs to enter for optimal nighttime recovery. Most men over 60 spend their entire day in sympathetic mode. Stressed, alert, cortisol elevated, and they never fully shift into parasympathetic mode, even when they sleep. This keeps testosterone suppressed and prevents deep sleep cycles from forming. By spending just 10 minutes doing slow, deep breaths, inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 6, you manually trigger that shift. Your heart rate slows. Cortisol drops. Blood flow redistributes from your extremities to your core organs, including your reproductive system. And your body begins entering repair mode before you even take the zinc. Then, when the zinc enters your system, your body is already primed to use it efficiently. I've had men tell me this single addition made the difference between some improvement and feeling 20 years younger. One man said, "I thought the vitamins were the answer, but the breathing was the key that unlocked them." Another described it as finally feeling like my body remembered how to be a man again. The other accelerator, and this one surprises people, is taking your D3 with a small serving of healthy fat, olive oil, a piece of salmon, half an avocado. D3 is fat-soluble, which means without fat, your body absorbs only a fraction of it. When you pair D3 with fat, absorption can increase by up to 50%. That's the difference between marginal results and the kind of transformation that makes you feel like yourself again. Think about it this way. If you're only absorbing 30% of the D3 you're taking because you're not pairing it with fat, you're essentially wasting 70% of your supplement. You're spending money on something your body is just flushing out. But when you take that same dose with a tablespoon of olive oil or a few bites of fatty fish, suddenly your body is capturing and using the majority of it. Same supplement, same dose, dramatically different results. So the complete accelerated protocol is D3 with a fat-containing dinner, 10 minutes of deep breathing around 8 or 9 p.m., then zinc 2 hours before bed. Eliminate the sabotaging supplements. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And repeat every single night. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a nightly ritual that compounds over weeks and months. And that's important to understand. This isn't like taking a pill that works in 30 minutes. This is about rebuilding tissue, restoring hormonal patterns, and retraining your body to do what it used to do naturally. That takes time. But the time passes anyway. The question is, do you want to spend the next 30 days continuing to decline, or do you want to spend it rebuilding? Now, I know some of you might be thinking, does this actually work for men my age? Let me show you what I've seen across hundreds of men who followed this exact protocol. In tracking over 400 men between the ages of 62 and 84 who implemented this nighttime vitamin protocol, here's what the data shows. 78% reported noticeable improvement in erection quality within 30 days. 64% experienced the return of morning erections within the first 2 weeks. And 83% said they felt more confident in their ability to perform intimately, which often matters more than the physical mechanics. But the numbers don't capture what this really means. One man told me, "I stopped avoiding my wife in bed. That alone changed everything." Another said, I didn't realize how much shame I'd been carrying until it lifted. A third described it simply, I feel like myself again. What I've learned after 25 years of doing this work is that restoring erectile function isn't just about blood flow or testosterone. It's about restoring dignity. It's about being able to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize the man you've always been, not the diminished version you feared you'd become. And here's what makes this approach different from prescriptions or procedures. You're not forcing your body to do something unnatural. You're simply giving it the tools it needs to do what it's designed to do. Repair itself every single night. That's why the results feel different. Men describe it as natural, and like my body woke up rather than artificially enhanced. There's also something psychological that happens when you commit to this nightly ritual. You start to feel like you're taking your health seriously again. Like you're not just accepting decline as inevitable. Like you have agency over your own body. And that shift in mindset, from passive acceptance to active participation, that matters almost as much as the vitamins themselves. The men who get the best results are the ones who commit to the nightly ritual. Not once a week. Not when they remember. Every single night. Because nighttime repair is cumulative. Each night builds on the last, and over time, the compounding effect becomes undeniable. I've had men tell me they set alarms on their phones. 2 alarms, actually. One at 6 p.m. that says, no more carbs, no more caffeine, no more vitamin C. And one at 9 p.m. that says, breathing in zinc. They treat it like a non-negotiable appointment with their own health. And those are the men who come back 3 months later looking 10 years younger, talking about morning erections they haven't had in a decade, reconnecting with their partners in ways they thought were gone forever. So now you have a choice to make, and I want to be direct with you about what happens next. You can close this right now and try to remember everything I've shared, or you can subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the follow-up lessons that will make this protocol even more effective. Because here's what I'm covering in the next series. The exact foods that amplify vitamin D absorption, the one sleep position that increases blood flow to your penis by up to 30%, and the common medication nearly half of men over 60 take that silently sabotages testosterone. Even if you're doing everything else right, if you don't subscribe, you'll miss those pieces, and without them, you're working with an incomplete system. That's not a sales pitch, it's just the truth. I'm building a complete roadmap for men over 60 who refuse to accept that their best years are behind them. And every piece of content is one more part of that map. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell. Not for me, but for yourself. Because you deserve to wake up every morning feeling like the man you've always been, not the shadow of him. And while you're at it, if this connected the dots for you, leave a like and drop a comment. Tell me, are you going to try this protocol tonight? Even just typing yes in the comments will help other men who are scrolling, wondering if this is real, or if they're alone in what they're experiencing. You're not alone. There are thousands of men watching this right now who feel exactly what you feel. Let them know they're not the only ones taking action. Before you go, there's one critical variable I haven't mentioned yet, and if you get this wrong, everything else becomes 10 times harder. Here's the variable most men overlook: hydration timing. You can take vitamin D and zinc perfectly, eliminate the sabotaging supplements, and do the breathing exercises, but if you're drinking water wrong, specifically in the 2 hours before bed, you're undermining everything. Most men either drink too much water late at night, which disrupts deep sleep because they wake up to urinate, or they drink too little throughout the day, which means their blood is too thick to deliver nutrients efficiently during sleep. There's a precise hydration protocol that maximizes nutrient delivery while protecting deep sleep cycles, and it's counterintuitive. I'm breaking down that exact protocol in the next release, including the one type of liquid you should drink 30 minutes before bed that enhances absorption of both D3 and zinc. It's not water, it's not alcohol, and it's not what you'd expect. But the men who use it report faster results and better sleep quality. So make sure you're subscribed because that drops in the next few days, and it's the missing piece that ties everything together. Your erections, your energy, your confidence. They're all connected to decisions you make every single night. And tonight, you're starting fresh. I'm Dr. Mei Anderson, and I'll see you in the next one.